Hello and welcome to another episode of HBTG, History Behind the Games. This series is not just to discuss the games, but to give some historical background behind them that may have influenced the game creation itself or parts of its development. Ghost Recon Wildlands is a game developed by Ubisoft Paris. This is an action open world type game based within the country of Bolivia that came out in the March of 2017. Following a special ops group named Ghosts, their mission is to help disable and topple a major Mexican crime cartel that has moved into the country, Santa Blanca. The story itself and the factions within it are all fiction, but the game capitalizes on past real events and current operations within the drug war. So let's see where the developers got inspired.
His decision. Major General Barrow is either one of our most dangerous enemies or our greatest ally. There's only one way to find out which.
I was a rookie field officer in Moscow when the coup went down. There was talk you were involved?
Nah, it must have been someone else. We were never there.
It's not every day you get to meet an urban legend in the flesh.
Huh, you should tell that to my kid. Maybe he'd listen when I tell him to take the trash out.
Is it hard being someone who doesn't officially exist?
You tell me, Karen Bowman, international aid worker.
Special Missions Unit, Special Operations, Tier 1 Ops. There are several different names for them, but the Tier 1 Operations are highly classified military units that carry out extremely difficult and delicate operations for their country. You play as a squad that is supposed to be one of these special units. Some well-known groups include the SEAL Team of the United States, the British Special Air Service, and the Russian Spetsnaz. However, one of the most famous in the drug war would be the US Delta Force. They are said to have participated in the operations in Colombia with various local special forces like the Search Block in the late 1980s and early 90s to help bring down the famed Pablo Escobar and his empire.
Looks like they're feeling froggy.
This joint task force is CIA, DEA, and JSOC. I'm your resident spook for this ride. Welcome to Operation Kingslayer.
Braga's response to the attacks proved he did not understand that the most basic function of a drug trafficking organization is to make money.
What does your father do?
He's a halcón.
A lookout?
Sí.
He hasn't been doing his job, has he?
I don't know.
Killing innocent people does not help you. Just the opposite. It alienates the people you need most. It sends them into the arms of your enemies.
In the game, the Santa Blanca cartel's radio and a few of the cutscenes mention how the cartel gives money to the poor or helps support the disadvantaged in several ways. Aside from the violent nature of many drug cartels and other crime organizations, several do help the extreme poor in their territory. The reasons for this are various: to gain local support, to get information, and for people looking for work with decent pay. Not only does this sometimes sink the local, legitimate economy, but it spurs the named narco economy, usually making the drug game the major place to find work. But the money also helps people to see the cartels helpful, sometimes even more than their local government, which only adds to the difficulty for those wanting to bring the organization down.
With their help, you won't need hundreds of soldiers.
Are you familiar with the word Huber, Senora Bowman?
Meet Pat Katari, leader of the resistance group Kataris 26. We will be working with the rebels to destabilize Santa Blanca's organization. They've been fighting Santa Blanca and corrupt Bolivian officials for nearly 6 years now.
As much as there is local support for some cartels, there will almost invariably be resistance to them as well. In the game, the Guitarist 26 is a rebel group that can help the Ghosts in firefights and operations. These kind of groups often feel strongly about making their nation have a better future without the violence and control of drug cartels. There have been and still are many vigilante groups that take on criminal drug organizations, such as the famed Los Pepes that were in Colombia, the many Autodefensas currently in Mexico, and various individuals in the Philippines, just to name a few.
For decades, Yayo picked the leaves, fingers blistered, back aching, feet bleeding. But never, in all that time, did he once extract the alkaloids to make cocaine. To Yayo, the coca leaf was an ancient tradition, going back 8,000 years, a medicine, a culture, una planta sagrada. Of course, the Americanos had a different opinion.
Aside from the game's story, the world in which the player goes through is often a beautiful and varied display of Bolivian landscapes and cultures. From farms with cattle to special traditional folk dances, such as the Diablada, being performed in certain towns and cities. Many items that are collectible and once grabbed, a short historical background of the numerous traditions and special objects is given. One example is the Huifala, which is an emblem or flag that is representative of some of the native cultures of the Andes mountain range. Even the rebel group, naming themselves Cataris, is based off the real rebel leaders Tupac and Tomas Catari of the 18th century.
What do you think's gonna happen to this country if and when Santa Blanca leaves?
What? Bolivians take over again.
But this country's all changed. It used to be FARC taking Bolivian cocaine to Mexico. FARC moves out, some other guy moves in. Santa Blanca moves out, who comes next? I mean, shit. Santa Blanca has done a hell of a lot to build up the cocaine industry's infrastructure in this country, in this province. You've seen how much they invested in power lucite production alone. All these buildings, this equipment, even the logistical template, it's just going to be sitting there when the next cartel moves in.
Shut up, dude. You're making me feel all depressed and useless.
Well, that's our show. Thank you for watching, and if you like the video, please click subscribe. If you have any game recommendations or comments, go ahead and leave them in the space below. This has been HBTG, and I'll see you next time.
Notify Bowman. Bowman. Boston Beach is no longer